The moment has already passed. You're already in the position most people lose from. Not because you made a bad decision, because you judged the decision after the fact. Most people believe outcomes reveal intelligence. They don't. They reveal variance, timing, and noise. You think the promotion proves the strategy worked. You think the failed deal proves the move was reckless. You think survival validates the risk. That belief quietly rewires your future behavior. You begin rewarding luck and punishing discipline. You double down on bad processes that happen to pay off. You abandon sound positions because the timing betrayed you. This is how leverage drains without drama. No confrontation, no obvious mistake. Just a slow replacement of judgment with results. Organizations rot this way. Careers stall this way. Negotiators lose ground this way. Because once outcomes become the scorecard, position no longer matters. Process no longer matters. Only the last visible result does. And the people watching you learn the wrong lesson. They start controlling you through hindsight. They wait for outcomes before deciding what you should have done. That's not feedback. That's retroactive domination. One misread outcome compounds into policy, then into identity, then into reputation. And the first mistake is the one nobody sees coming. This is outcome bias, not as a concept, as the mechanism that replaces strategic judgment with scoreboard thinking and convinces you to abandon leverage because the last roll didn't favor you. You're praised when it works, you're questioned when it doesn't. Same process, same information, different outcome. Over time, you adapt, not to reality, but to applause. You stop protecting decision integrity. You start chasing visible wins. The people evaluating you benefit from this. They gain control without responsibility, because if results define quality, they never have to defend their incentives. And you learn to trade position for approval. That trade never favors you. A controlled move fails due to noise. A reckless move succeeds due to luck. Guess which one gets copied? Organizations reward what worked, not what was sound. Careers stall because one disciplined no is remembered longer than 10 lucky yeses. You begin avoiding correct but unattractive decisions. You delay exits that are rational but ugly. Who benefits? Anyone who prefers you predictable and risk-averse. Outcome bias doesn't make you smarter. It makes you easier to manage. You made it through, so the move must have been right. That's the lie. Survival only proves you weren't selected out. It says nothing about whether the exposure was intelligent. This is how people normalize Russian roulette strategies. This is how firms mistake bull markets for brilliance. Those watching you don't care why you survived. They care that you'll repeat the exposure. And next time, the math collects. After the fact, everyone knew. After the loss, the warning signs were obvious. After the win, the vision was clear. This retroactive certainty is weaponized. It shifts power from decision-makers to commentators, from operators to judges. You end up defending choices with outcomes instead of logic. That's already a loss, because the moment you argue results, you surrender process control. And once you lose that, you're replaceable. When outcomes rule, you start explaining yourself. Why it made sense, why it almost worked, why next time will be different. Explanation feels like clarity. It's actually exposure. Every explanation reveals your thresholds, your risk tolerance, your fear points. Others learn how to pressure you next time. Outcome bias doesn't just misjudge decisions. It trains you to self-disclose under scrutiny. A loss feels like a verdict, so you react. You lock into corrective action. You over-adjust. You commit early to fixing perception. This destroys optionality. The correct response to noise is often delay. But outcome bias demands motion. Who benefits from your urgency? Never you. Most people think decisions are validated by results. Operators know results are contaminated by variance. Most people chase being right. Operators avoid being cornered. This isn't about being right. It's about not being cornered. Control comes from optionality, not intensity. Speed favors the trapped. Delay favors the positioned. Outcome bias reverses these truths. It trains you to rush after losses, to justify after wins, and to confuse luck with leverage. Operators separate judgment from noise. They protect process even when optics turn hostile. They know a bad outcome doesn't invalidate a good move, and a good outcome doesn't sanctify a bad one. They don't argue hindsight. They design positions that don't require approval. That's the shift. Most people over-explain failed projects. They seek validation through outcomes. This weakens them. Instead, state the decision frame. State the constraints. Stop. Silence signals confidence in process. In reviews, don't defend results. Anchor to decision logic and risk management. Delay commitments after visible losses. Urgency is read as weakness. Negotiations punish outcome thinkers. A deal that closes fast is praised, even if terms are weak. A disciplined walkaway is questioned, even if correct. Operators separate pricing logic from deal fate. They don't discount because the last deal failed. They don't raise exposure because the last bet hit. Timing noise is not feedback. Leverage shifts to whoever resists retrospective pressure. Outcome bias turns relationships into scorecards. You apologize because conflict happened, not because you were wrong. You overgive because withdrawal looked bad. This teaches others how to push you. Instead, judge interactions by boundary integrity, not emotional outcome. Withdrawal is a position. Silence is information control. Engagement after loss signals need. Need kills leverage. Was the process sound before the result? Who benefits from this outcome narrative? Noise is not instruction. Never correct based on optics alone. Delay after losses. Observe. Explain less when results disappoint. Protect process, not pride. Survival is not validation. Outcome bias doesn't make you wrong. It makes you governable. It trains you to accept judgment after the fact, to internalize other people's narratives, to trade structure for relief. Operators don't do that. They design moves that survive scrutiny without explanation. They let noise pass without response. They understand that long-term position is built by resisting false feedback. Control isn't loud, it's consistent. If you let outcomes rewrite your judgment, you'll keep losing leverage while believing you're learning. If you're still watching, thank you for your attention.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.